Have you ever been sitting somewhere, talking to a friend, or maybe you went somewhere new, but you feel like that moment is very familiar to you? It's like you've been there before. You've said those things before. This is what they call déjà vu. Most people between the ages of 15 and 50 have had this feeling at least once, but it's estimated that a third of people never experience it. Ancient Greek philosophers such as Plato and Pythagoras believed that the reason for déjà vu was that the soul is reborn. And when something feels familiar to you, it means that your soul has experienced that situation before. Some believe that déjà vu means that you are seeing an image of a parallel world, or even the future, and perhaps you have the power to predict. Of course, these theories have no scientific basis, and are mostly superstitions. But today, scientists are more likely to look for a logical reason for this strange feeling. Some, like Alan Brown, a university psychology professor, have been researching déjà vu since the 1990s. So far, no definitive answer has been found, and everything is still just theory. For example, he suggests an idea that the brain mistakenly creates a sense of familiarity when registering new memories. Or perhaps the brain processes information from multiple pathways simultaneously, making you feel like you've seen a moment before. In 1994, the same university professor, Alan Brown, wanted to understand what causes déjà vu. He came and did some research. He asked hundreds of students exactly under what circumstances they felt this way. Most students said they usually felt déjà vu upon seeing a specific place or entering a new place, such as a historic building or castle. It's even interesting that older research also shows that certain places, especially castles and old buildings, are more likely to cause déjà vu. Brand concluded that these places, due to their special appearance and strange atmosphere, make the mind more sensitive and alert. And perhaps this is what makes the feeling of familiarity so familiar. There are also some old ideas that are still popular among people. For example, that déjà vu is a sign of reincarnation or a past life. For example, maybe you lived in the same place before, and your soul is recalling that memory. Some say that déjà vu means you have premonitions or are experiencing a scene that you have seen before in your dream. There is also the idea of a parallel universe. They say that maybe at this very moment you are experiencing this event simultaneously with another version of yourself in a parallel universe. But none of these theories have yet been scientifically proven. Scientists look for logical and scientific reasons. One of the oldest scientific theories is that déjà vu is the result of forgotten memories. This means that maybe you had a similar experience before, but you forgot it, and now your brain is vaguely reconstructing that feeling. A more logical theory about déjà vu is that our brains sometimes subconsciously recall very old memories. For example, when we were children and between the ages of 0 and 3, we were somewhere or saw someone, and years later we might see that place or person again and have a sense of familiarity and déjà vu. For example, a girl felt a strange sense of sadness and familiarity when she entered the hospital. Then he found out that his mother was sick there when he was a child, and he went to visit her. There are many similar examples for this example. These are more of a sense of familiarity than true déjà vu. In such cases, the brain recognizes something through its senses before you actually remember it. There is also an idea called the dual mind. According to this idea, we have two parts of the mind: a knowledgeable person who does everyday tasks. There is also an unconscious one that constantly monitors everything. Sometimes, when you're not paying attention or your attention is distracted, your subconscious mind registers things that your conscious mind doesn't notice. Later, when you encounter the same situation again, you get that feeling of déjà vu because your subconscious has seen it before and reminds you of it. Another version of the same theory says that the brain sometimes makes mistakes. This means you see or experience something, but your brain doesn't fully register it. When you see it again, you feel like you've experienced that moment before. Another theory comes up with ideas based on recurring scenarios. He says, suppose you board a plane every time you go to the airport. Because your route is this way. You keep repeating the same step. Every time you go the same route, you do the same old things. That's why when you go to the airport to board the plane again, if you're not focused on your route and your mind is a bit distracted, you'll get the feeling that you've done this before. And it's true. You've actually done the same thing before, but you weren't paying attention at that moment. So far, most theories about déjà vu say that you must have experienced a similar situation before, but sometimes a person goes to a new place that has nothing to do with their past, but they still get this feeling of familiarity. Here's another idea. It says that our brain is a master of pattern recognition and similarity, and sees everything as a whole, an integrated whole, not in pieces. For example, when you see two sunflower paintings by Van Gogh separately, you think they are the same, but when you put them side by side, you see that they are different. When our mind encounters a situation that resembles something we've seen before, it quickly feels like it's been there, even if you haven't actually seen that place. Professor Brown argues in his book, The Déjà Vu Experience, that déjà vu is a purely mental phenomenon that has no external or testable signs, and is simply a conflict between two different perceptions of the brain that has no way of proving or disproving it. Until the early 20th century, scientists were completely unconcerned about solving the problem of déjà vu, thinking that only superstitious people experienced it. After 2004, researchers became interested in déjà vu again and realized that perhaps it actually had a scientific reason. An important point is that research has shown that one of the symptoms of SAD is repeated experiences of déjà vu. This connection was discovered in 1880 by Dr. John Hollins Jackson. People who are having a seizure enter a dreamlike recurring state that resembles déjà vu just before the attack. This phenomenon is known as one of the symptoms of medial temporal lobe palsy, and after treatment, this sensation usually disappears. But can déjà vu be examined in the brain at the moment it happens? Because luck happens anyway. We don't know what day or what time it will happen, so we can investigate it. But in a Russian study, they put a group of people under brain monitoring for 24 hours. Some of them were crazy, while others were just experiencing a lot of déjà vu. When the brain results were compared, it was seen that the brain patterns of the person who had déjà vu were similar to those of the panic attacks. However, this research still did not provide a definitive answer. It only showed that déjà vu usually occurs before a seizure. To understand exactly how déjà vu occurs, scientists tested brain probes on panic attacks patients who had these probes implanted to control brain waves and prevent panic attacks. For example, deep brain stimulation. When they stimulated this area of the brain called the medial temporal lobe, all the patients experienced déjà vu. But because other symptoms of the rush, such as nausea and dizziness, occurred, it was not clear whether this feeling was truly déjà vu or the beginning of a rush attack. Déjà vu is not just associated with speed. People with schizophrenia, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and depression also sometimes experience déjà vu. Of course, experiencing déjà vu repeatedly, for example, several times a week or day, can be a sign of neurological problems. A research team led by Professor Cleary has found a way to create déjà vu in a controlled manner. With the help of another scientist, he created a virtual déjà vu simulator. They came and designed rooms that had similar layouts but different uses. For example, the rooms were similar, but one had an aquarium. The other was a reception room. The participants first entered a room. After a while, they entered the second room, which was similar to the first. Usually, to enter the new room, they would simulate the same path, music, and lighting that they had experienced in the first room. The result was that people were 27 times more likely to experience déjà vu when they entered a room that looked like another place, and when all their sensations, such as the walking, music, and lighting, were similar, this number rose to 54. What's more interesting is that in the second scenario, just before a turn in the room, they stopped their movement and asked, "What do you think will happen next?" 75 people who had déjà vu felt they could predict the future. But the point was, even 42 of those who didn't have déjà vu thought the same thing. So, in conclusion, déjà vu does not predict the future. It's just an illusion that gives you a sense of foreboding. Overall, these experiments show that some of the previous theories are actually closer to reality. For example, the similarity of the environment, the path, and the sensory inputs to the brain causes déjà vu to occur. And this phenomenon also shows that this is a cognitive error in which the brain confuses familiarity with real memory. Research on déjà vu is still ongoing. Maybe one day a more definitive reason will be found. But for now, there's no mention of parallel worlds, reincarnation, souls, or any of these things in the story of déjà vu. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to like the video. Tell me your craziest déjà vu moment, subscribe for more mind-blowing stories. Goodbye to another unknown factor.